Okay, today's aim is what are the basic terms involving angles and what are their definitions. So the first angle term we're going to learn is the straight angle. And a straight angle is an angle that forms a straight line. And a straight angle has a measure of, as you might have guessed it, 180 degrees. So a straight angle is an angle whose measure is 180 degrees. Here is a straight angle ABC. It looks like a line. It is a line. It is also a straight angle. And the measure here is 180 degrees. Okay, let's get our next definition. So the next angle we're going to be talking about are complementary angles. Complementary angles are two angles that add up to 90 degrees. So let's take this example. Given angle CAG. So angle CAG is this big angle over here. And as you can tell, angle CAG is 90 degrees. I know that because they're telling me that. I also know that because I have this right angle symbol right over there. So it's telling me that that angle is 90 degrees. Since angle CAT plus angle TAG is equal to angle CAG, since the sum of this angle here plus this angle here, since their sum is equal to 90 degrees, we say that angle CAT and angle TAG are complementary angles because their sum is 90 degrees. We also say that each angle is called the complement of the other. In other words, angle CAT is the complement of angle TAG, and angle TAG is the complement of angle CAT. Let's take another example. Here we have angle J and K. Angle J is equal to 50 degrees. Angle K is equal to 40 degrees. Since the sum of angles J and K are 90 degrees, we say J and K are complementary angles. J is the complement of K, and K is the complement of J. Let's take an example. Two complementary angles are in the ratio of 4 to 5. What is the measure of the larger angle? So when two things are in a ratio, that means there is some multiple x times one of those angles plus that same multiple x times the other, whose sum is equal to 90 degrees. So we never write x4, we typically write or say 4x. So 4x plus 5x is equal to 90. So we combine like terms. 9x is equal to 90, and when we divide both sides, this is supposed to be a 90, not a 96. When we divide both sides of our equation by 9, we get x is equal to 10. Now, what did they ask us to find? They said find the larger angle. So 4 times 10 is equal to 40 degrees, and 5 times 10 is equal to 50 degrees. So clearly the larger of the two angles is the 50-degree angle. One thing we should do before we move on to the next problem is to make sure that the sum of 40 and 50 is 90. That's our check, and it takes seconds to check. Okay, why don't you try doing this problem? Put your player on pause, and when you're done, hit play, and let's see if we get the same answer. Okay, two complementary angles are in the ratio of 5 to 7. What is the measure of the larger angle? So again, the way we're going to solve this problem is we're going to set up an equation of 5x plus 7x is equal to 90. When we combine like terms, we get 12x is equal to 90. Dividing both sides of our equation by 12, we get x is equal to 7.5. Okay, so we're being asked to find the larger angle. So let's see. 5 times 7.5. 5 times 7.5 is 37.5, so this is 37.5 degrees. And 7 times 7.5, and if you use your calculator, 7 times 7.5 is 52.5 degrees. 52.5 degrees. So clearly 52.5 is the larger. 52.5 is the larger of the two angles. But before we move on to the next problem, we want to make sure that the sum of these two angles is indeed 90 degrees. And it turns out that it is. Don't take for granted that you have the correct answer until you've checked your answer. Okay. Next, let's take a look at the next type of angle we have, and those are supplementary angles. So two angles that add up to 180 degrees are called supplementary angles. So let's take an example. I have angle TOG, which is a straight angle or a straight line. Since angle DOT plus angle TOG is equal to 180 degrees, remember, angle TOG is equal to 180 degrees, and angle TOG is made up of two angles. It's made up of this angle here, which is angle DOT, and this angle here, which is angle DOG. So since angles DOT plus angle DOG are equal to 180, we say that they are supplementary angles. Let's take an example. I have angle BAT, which is 75 degrees, and I have angle CAT, which is 105. Since the sums of angles BAT and CAT are 180, I would say that angle BAT and angle CAT are supplementary. I could also say that angle BAT is the supplement of angle CAT. Conversely, I can say angle CAT is the supplement of angle BAT. Let's take an example. Two supplementary angles measure 2x plus 10 and x plus 20. What is the value of x? So because these two angles are supplementary, they are supplements of each other, that means 2x plus 10 plus x plus 20 is equal to 180 degrees. So we're going to combine like terms. 2x plus x is 3x. 10 plus 20 is 30. 3x plus 30 is equal to 180. I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides of my equation, and I get 3x is equal to 150. Dividing both sides of my equation by 3, we get x is equal to 50. Not 50 degrees, 50. So what is the value of x? Well, we got the value of x, but before we move on to the next problem, we want to make sure, I don't know how that happened, we want to make sure that our answer is correct. So we'll circle our answer, but we'll check our work. So this is the check. So is 2 times 50 plus 10 plus 50 plus 20, that's this angle right over here, are their sums really equal to 180? Let's see. 2 times 50 is 100. 100 plus 10 is 110. Plus 50 plus 20 is 70. And is 110 plus 70 equal to 180? Yes, of course it is. So we know that this answer is correct. So what I'd like you to do is put your player on pause. I'd like you to do this problem on your own and hit play when you are done. Okay, so let's take a look at this problem. It says three supplementary angles measure 5x plus 4, x minus 2, and 3x plus 7. So we're going to set up our equation as follows. 5x plus 4 plus x minus 2 plus 3x plus 7 is equal to 180. Now if you wanted to, you can put parens around each of these because they represent three different angles, but you don't need to. It's perfectly fine if you leave the parens out. But what's nice about this is I can easily identify which angle each of these are and figure out which one is the larger or smaller or medium angle if they ask me to. Anyway, let's combine like terms. So I have 5x plus x plus 3x, which is 9x. I have 4 minus 2, which is 2, plus 7, which is 9. So I have 9x plus 9 is equal to 180. I subtract 9 from both sides of my equation, and I get 9x is equal to 171. So at this point, what I do is I divide both sides of my equation by 9. So divide both sides by 9, and we get x is equal to 19. Okay, so they asked me to solve for x. I solve for x, but again, before I move on to the next problem, I want to make sure that my answer is really correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use x, and I'm going to substitute x with 19 in each of these. I'm going to take their sum and see if they actually equal to 180 degrees. So the question is 5 times 19 plus 4 plus 19 minus 2 plus 3 times 19 plus 7, is this equal to 180 degrees? So let's see what we got. So 5 times 19, well, that's 95. So I have 95 plus 4 plus 19 minus 2, which is 17, plus 3 times 19, which is 57, plus 7. Is this equal to 180? Let's see. So I've got, this is 99 plus 17 plus 17 plus 64. Is this equal to 180? And well, we see that 99 plus 17 plus 64 does equal to 180, so this definitely works, and therefore this is our answer. X is equal to 19. Okay, let's move on. The next type of angle we're going to talk about are vertical angles. And vertical angles are two angles whose sides are opposite rays. So these are rays. Here's one ray over here, right over here. This guy is a ray. That's one ray. And we have another ray, which is right over here. And they are opposite rays. They go in opposite directions. And the angles that they form are vertical angles. So which are the vertical angles? Angles 1 and 3 are vertical angles. Another pair of vertical angles will be, as you guessed it, angles 4 and 2. We call them vertical angles. We do not call them opposite angles. Although they look like they are opposite each other, they are called vertical angles. And the way to remember that is, well, they form V's, upside down V's and a right side up V. So that's one way of remembering what they are called. Let's take another definition of angles. We have what are called adjacent angles. So adjacent angles are two coplanar angles that meet the following criteria. Number one, they share a common side. Notice how angles 1 and 2 share a common side, which is this side right over here. B, they have a common vertex. Here is the common vertex between angles 1 and 2. And C, they have no common interior points. What does that mean? Well, imagine these are all the interior points of angle 2. And imagine these are all the interior points of angle 1. There are no points in angle 1 that are in angle 2. Conversely, there are no points in angle 2 that are in angle 1. So therefore, they have no common interior points. Angles 1 and 2 are adjacent. Angles 3 and 4 are also adjacent angles. So angle 3, imagine these are all the points inside angle 3. And imagine these are all the points inside angle 4. They have no common points. So they satisfy this criteria. They have a common vertex. This is the common vertex of angles 3 and 4. And they share a common side. This is the common side of angles 3 and 4. Therefore, angles 3 and 4 are also adjacent angles. What I'd like you to do is take about 30 seconds, put your player on pause, and decide whether angles 1 and 2 are adjacent angles in each of these problems A, B, and C. If they are not, you need to have an explanation. What criteria do they fail? Okay, you can hit play again. So what is the problem with 1? With A? Is there a problem with A? Well, let's see. It looks like they share a common side, so that's not a problem. It looks like the points in angle 1 are different than the points in angle 2, right? But the problem is they do not share a common vertex. Here is the vertex for angle 1, here is the vertex for angle 2, so therefore these are not adjacent. Let's take a look at letter B. So it looks like the points in angle 1 are clearly different than the points in angle 2. It looks like they do have a common vertex, but the problem here is they do not share a common side. The sides are different. Here is angle 1's side, and here is angle 2's side. So this is also, or these are also not adjacent angles. How about letter C? Well, it looks like they share a common side. It looks like they do not have points that overlap, and they share a common vertex. So the answer is yes, they are adjacent. So yes, they are. Okay, let's go to the next angle. The next angle is called a linear pair. So two angles form a linear pair if they are adjacent. We know what adjacent is, we just reviewed that. And if they form a straight line. So let's take an example. Angle KPL and angle JPL are a linear pair. The measure of angle KPL is 2x plus 4, and the measure of angle JPL is 4x plus 36. What are the measures of KPL and JPL? Well, if they are a linear pair, that means their sum is equal to 180 degrees. Also, if they're adjacent, I should be able to draw adjacent angles. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a straight angle. And the question is, where do I put my letter P? Where does P go? Well, the question you have to ask yourself is, what does P represent? Okay, P represents the vertex KPL, JPL, KPL, JPL. So P must be in the middle. So I'm going to put P right over there. L has got to be somewhere up here. It cannot be on the line. It's got to be either above or below the line. I'm going to put it above. And J and K can pretty much go anywhere. If you want, we can put J over here, and we can put K over here. So I'm going to draw the angles. So this is a very crude drawing of my angles JPL, which is this guy right over here, and KPL, which is this one right over here. So it's saying that JPL is equal to 4x plus 36. So this is going to be 4x plus 36. And KPL, which that's, whoops, I'm sorry, let's move that guy over there. You didn't see anything. KPL is equal to 2x plus 24. So let's write that. So 2x plus 24, and we're going to write that right over here. 2x plus 24. Good. So if they're telling me that they are a linear pair, that means that their sum is equal to 180 degrees. Well, let's set up our equation. So 4x plus 36 plus 2x plus 24 is equal to 180. They're adjacent and they're a linear pair. Let's combine like terms. We've got 6x plus 36 plus 24 is 60 is equal to 180. If I subtract 60 from both sides of my equation, I get 6x is equal to 120. Dividing 6 on both sides of my equation, I get x is equal to 20. What are they asking me for? They're asking me to find the measures of angles JPL and KPL. JPL and KPL. Well, let's substitute 20 in for x, and let's check to make sure that their sums are actually equal to 180 degrees. Okay, so here we go. So I have 4 times 20, that's supposed to be a 20, 4 times 20 plus 36 plus 2 times 20 plus 24. Is this equal to 180 degrees? Part of what I'm trying to do is to check my answer. 4 times 20 is 80, so I have 80 plus 36, plus 2 times 20, which is 40 plus 24. Is this equal to 180 degrees? Let's see. 80 plus 36 is 116 degrees, plus 40 plus 24 is 64 degrees, and sure enough, 116 plus 64 is equal to 180. So my answers are, and I must state this, so if JPL is 4x plus 36, I must say that angle JPL is equal to 116, and angle KPL is equal to 64 degrees. I realize that JPL looks like the smaller of the two angles, but that's not the important thing. It's not a question of how it looks, it's a question of how the math works. Okay. I'd like you to try A and B and put your player on pause, try both of these, and let's see what you get when you hit play.